Welcome into this edition of NFL Daily, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. The NFL trade deadline is almost here, coming up on Tuesday afternoon. And on this edition of the program, we will break down 4 players, and I will predict where I think they will likely end up on trade deadline day. We'll go over the full list of players coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do that, folks, want to make sure you're subscribed to NFL Daily. We are going to be live for the NFL trade deadline coming up on Tuesday afternoon. You won't want to miss out on our coverage as the trades roll in real time. It will be a great time, folks. We'll be all over it on Tuesday afternoon. That's in addition to our daily NFL coverage as we're bringing you the latest happenings across the National Football League. If you love the NFL, this is the channel for you. Subscribe now for free, and we'll get started with today's show. Let's begin now with Adam Thielen of the Carolina Panthers. And I think that the Panthers are in full fire sale mode at this point in time, with already moving on from Deontay Johnson and some other players that they're potentially going to move with just how bad they are. And one team that's really desperate for some receiver help now is the Houston Texans. After the injury to Stephon Diggs, they need some type of alternative for the short term. They're not necessarily looking for somebody long term. They just need somebody to fill in the gap to get them through this situation for 2024. And I think Thielen could be the answer they're potentially looking for here in this case. And you look at this Houston Texans team. They're obviously a very good football team, one of the contenders in the AFC, and I think without question the best team in the AFC South. They got a really good quarterback in C.J. Stroud. They made that move to bring in Stephon Diggs in the offseason to kind of take their offense to another level, and now you've lost that investment that you made to bring in Stephon Diggs. You need to do something. And I still think that they have long-term plans for Stephon Diggs once he gets healthy. So I think Thielen can kind of fill that gap for now to be your short-term replacement to get you through this season, because you look at the rest of the AFC. The Kansas City Chiefs are undefeated. The Baltimore Ravens are obviously a very good football team. The Texans without Diggs, I do not think they can win the AFC. I think they need to make a pretty substantial move if they want to remain in contention, and bringing in a guy like Thielen could be the savior of their season potentially as far as that goes. Will the Texans add Adam Thielen? You have 2 options. It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know what you think. Type T for trade, P for pass if you think the Texans are going to trade for Thielen or not. Got to tell you about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. And here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. And with Prize Picks, they got a great offer that they're giving our NFL Daily viewers, where they will give you $50 to spend for free when you spend $5. You don't even have to win to get the money with Prize Picks. It's a great deal they're offering just for our NFL Daily viewers. And all you got to do is use the promo code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS. It's simple as that, folks. This week on Prize Picks, I got Jackson Smith-Njigba. They have more than 54.5 receiving yards. The Seahawks don't know if they're going to have DK Metcalf back this week or not, so they'll certainly need him. Also going with Jameis Winston to have more than half an interception. The guy's a turnover machine. I think he throws at least one on Sunday against the Chargers. You can play along with me at prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, glad to have them on board here on NFL Daily, sponsoring today's program. Next up, let's talk about Za'Darius Smith of the Cleveland Browns, and I predict that he ends up with the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions lost Aiden Hutchinson for the remainder of the season, their best defensive player. I think Hutchinson is so fantastic. It is going to be monumental for this Lions team to try to replace him, as that Lions defense was not that great to begin with. And now you lose a guy of that caliber. If you're the Detroit Lions, you're all in on this year, right? This is, on paper, going into 2024, the best Lions team in my lifetime and the best Lions team that we've seen in very many years, with a realistic chance to get to the Super Bowl and win it. And you're talking about this team being in a very competitive division as well, with the Minnesota Vikings right there, the Green Bay Packers as well. Chicago's not a bad football team. If you're Detroit, you cannot afford to take a step back without Hutchinson. Smith could be a good fit, and I think he could be a long-term fit too. He could be a difference maker to play alongside Hutchinson for years to come when Hutchinson ultimately gets healthy. I think that'd be a good fit for that Detroit Lions team. Moving on next, let's stay within that division in Green Bay, and we turn our focus to Chase Young of the New Orleans Saints, and I'm predicting that he ends up with the Green Bay Packers. And you look at this Green Bay Packers team, they are a very good ball club, and I've been impressed with what the Packers have done in the post-Aaron Rodgers era. We thought that there would be a transition of sorts, going from Rodgers to Jordan Love. And there was a little bit of a transition in the middle of 2023, but then they really started to turn it on from about Thanksgiving on to the end of last year, when they were very close to getting to the NFC Championship game. Now you look at this Packers team, even better than what they were last season, but one problem that the Packers have had is their pass rush, that their pass rush has not been that great. You could get Chase Young. I think that the Packers are in a position where they have the flexibility to give up the necessary assets to pay Chase Young as well, which is certainly important, both financially speaking and when it comes to draft capital, what it would take to get a deal done. And you look at the New Orleans Saints side of things, I know that they were pretty optimistic when they brought in Chase Young to begin with, back this offseason, that they were going to make a push this year, but obviously things have not gone the way that they expected to. And so you got to think that they're going to be sellers at this point. And I think the Saints are so far gone that trading even within their conference to the NFC is not out of the question. Sending him to a team like Green Bay, I think, could make a lot of sense. Who is a player that gets traded before the NFL trade deadline? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know who you think could get moved. Here at NFL Daily, we are bringing you the best coverage you won't find anywhere else. Make sure to subscribe now for continuing coverage across the National Football League, as we're talking about these news and rumors, in addition to our live shows that we do, our Red Zone channel each and every week. It's right here. Subscribe now for continuing NFL coverage. Last on our list, folks, let's talk Pittsburgh now. It's no secret the Pittsburgh Steelers have been weighing their options at the wide receiver position. They were heavy in on the talks of Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, that did not happen. And about every receiver that's been mentioned in trade discussions, their name has come up with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And one team they just beat a couple weeks ago has a player that's on the market right now. That is Mike Williams of the New York Jets. I'm looking for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be serious contenders to make a trade for Mike Williams. The Steelers' offense has tremendously improved with Russell Wilson under center, but they could still use some receiver help, especially as the Steelers want to take this next step to be a serious contender in the AFC. And kind of like what we mentioned with the Texans here, no pun intended with my last name being Jones, but you got to keep up with the Joneses, right? The Steelers are trying to find themselves, all right, what do we have to do to be as good as the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans, these other teams in the AFC? What can we do to make a splash? This could be something that makes this offense just a little bit better and go a long ways for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it would make a lot of sense for Pittsburgh to do so. Tell me who you think gets traded before the trade deadline. Who comes to mind that you think is ultimately going to get moved? Those are my predictions, going with Thielen to Houston, Smith to Detroit, Young to Green Bay, and Williams to Pittsburgh. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of NFL Daily. We will see you next time.